Toledo, a hub of entertainment, art, and also the crossroads of America. I'm Tim McMahon, and I'm hitting the road to discover the cities, neighborhoods, and gems beyond the Glass City. Join me for an adventure as I meet the people and tour the places at the beating heart of the Midwest. This is One Tank Travel. A river runs through it. Actually, more than one river runs through it. Rich with scenery and a historic downtown, Defiance, Ohio is a family-friendly getaway only 1 hour from downtown Toledo. My chaperone for this One Tank Travel was Kirsty Mack, Executive Director of the Defiance Development and Visitors Bureau.
So 2 years ago, we were officially designated as a historic downtown district. So it's kind of a new thing for the community to be referring to it that way. But we are working towards different things to highlight the history of the buildings of the area.
Speaking of the history and one of the older buildings, it's Meek's Pastry Shop. I don't know about you, but I could use a little treat.
I'm in.
You want to hop in? All right, let's go. Okay, right away, this has got that, feel, this old school bakery shop.
Yep.
The noise when I come through the door, but I can tell that this has been around here a long time. So this has been a staple of the community for what, over 70 years?
It has, absolutely. It is the place when you say, when you're in Defiance, what do you absolutely have to do? And it's, you have to stop in Meek's Bakery, you have to check out the donuts, but my favorite is getting the butter cookies. My wedding, we actually personalized butter cookies with my wedding colors. That is how much I love these cookies.
You're right down the street, so you're down here a lot, huh?
Uh-huh. My brother-in-law and I actually have contests to see who can eat the most.
I love this old, feel, community feel. Is that what it's like around here with all the local businesses? You guys are all like one, basically?
There's a lot of support from every business to their neighbor. They stop in here and say, what else can I do? Go here to shop for this, go here to pick up coffee, go here to have lunch. Make sure you pick up additional desserts in the area. Very supportive of everybody near and far through the downtown.
I'm gonna have another one.
Uh-huh.
They do, they melt in your mouth, and a variety of sweets. I was even eyeing up this cake that looks like a cheeseburger right behind me. So I might have to get that before I head out. Where else are we gonna go today? Because there's such a historic aspect to Defiance. Where are we gonna go next?
We're gonna head down towards our confluence of the rivers. So we're gonna go down by Pontiac Park, be able to get a view of where Fort Defiance used to stand. We're gonna sit on some river swings and maybe get a few glimpses of some kayaks.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you guys very, very much.
Our trip to Pontiac Park took us over the refurbished Purple Heart Bridge, named after the Purple Heart recipients of Defiance County.
Some great aesthetics were added to it, some overlooks to be able to stand in to fish or overlook just over the river. And it is, a big connection between downtown and the additional areas of the Defiance community.
Next was a stroll along the multi-purpose Buckeye Trail, which is also part of the 4,700-mile-long North Country Trail, stretching from Vermont to North Dakota.
So you could get people that are like on a, days or week-long biking trip from New York State and coming down.
Absolutely.
That's very cool. Maybe we'll see a biker fly by. They're welcome to come through the shot. I'm okay with that. Also a historic aspect around here too. Fort Defiance used to be in this area. It's not here anymore, but it's still, appreciated. We see it on signs. We see it sort of all over the place. Obviously with the town's name as well. Nature in general, we were talking about the banks that have all been cleaned up along here, so you can see the rivers and really appreciate it.
Yeah, really a big thing for our community is when we were seeing those projects being done and the bank stabilization project and the clearing of some of the maybe dead or overgrown areas of trees and bushes. So many different people driving down this road that runs along the river.
The two rivers here, this is the mighty Maumee going this way, and then what goes that way?
This is the Auglaize. So the water from Lima comes up the Auglaize to this point, and then the water from Fort Wayne comes up the Maumee to this point where they come together and go on then towards Toledo.
Before we head into break, let's check in with our sponsor, AAA, and get some tips on traveling this season. I'm here with Cindy Russo. She's a retail office manager here at AAA. AAA, obviously a staple in the community and really across the country. Give me some tips on what people can expect this season as far as traveling.
AAA is seeing an uptick in travel and travel requests. People are ready to get out and take those road trips this summer.
How are you and your team helping travelers get ready for what could be a pretty busy spring and summer season?
AAA offers many tools and resources, our AAA maps and tour books to help them plan their road trips and summer vacations, along with the triptychs to actually route out those vacations and construction along the way. And travelers can also take advantage of AAA's enhanced partnership with the Ohio Turnpike. We sell the Easy Pass transponders so they can electronically record those fares and save money on the tolls as well.
How often do you find people coming in here getting advice, especially now this time of year?
We have seen an increase in travel since the beginning of March. People are ready to get out there, take those road trips, and they're starting to plan ahead, which is very important. Being flexible with your travel dates is very important this time around with everything going on with closures and things being at a reduced capacity.
What are some of the more popular requests you get for travel destinations as far as maps and things like that?
Right now we're seeing a lot of people that are traveling down to Florida. Disney World obviously is very popular and has limited availability, so planning ahead is key with that. And we're also seeing people heading to Myrtle Beach, Gatlinburg and the Smokies area, and a lot of people are coming in for those Western National Park trips and vacations that they're planning ahead for this summer.
Are there discounts for AAA members?
Best Western Hotels is a trusted partner for discounts on hotels. Shell gas stations offer 5 cents per gallon on every fill up if they sign up for the Fuel Rewards program with Shell. We also have AAA tickets, which offers discounts for attractions, sporting events, concerts, that people can order those tickets online at the AAA.com website.
Awesome, very cool, I love that. All right, before we wrap up here, how do people become AAA members?
Join today and receive 50% off. Use offer code PGATV50. Visit AAA.com/join to learn more.
There you go. You see it across the bottom of the screen right now. It's AAA helping you out on your travels this spring and summer. More with One Tank Travel when we return. Defiance, Ohio is rich with history and small-town charm, with shops, bakeries, restaurants, and places to grab a morning cup of joe, like Cabin Fever Coffee. Opened in 2003 and inspired by the original owner's trip to Colorado, Cabin Fever Coffee mimics the cozy atmosphere of, what else, a Mountain West cabin. In 2020, Jared Heffel and his wife Jenny bought the shop and retained the cabin theme, which routinely attracts locals and visitors to the area.
I love it, actually. I never dreamed I'd be doing this, but when I started, I just went in, dived in head first, and it's an art form. And I love being a part of the downtown community. I love being more a part of the community, Defiance, and meeting the different people from around the area, and it's fun, I love it.
So are you from Defiance?
Yep, well, I was born in Bryan, but my parents, right after I was born, moved to Defiance. I lived here till I went to college in Toledo, lived there for 7 years. And then I knew I wanted to move back to Defiance to raise a family, and I've been here ever since.
Is it a rule that you have to love coffee to own a coffee shop?
I mean, it helps.
Do you?
Honestly, I only drink drip coffee. And when I started here, I started drinking espresso, and I'm hooked. I love it.
Yeah.
I can't go a day without it.
Heffel is not the only Defiance resident reliant on a daily dose of caffeine.
Our customer base, our community is amazing. The culture of this environment that we have here has always been just solid. It's been probably the most high quality place that I've worked in my adult life, so I've enjoyed it quite a bit. So these two drinks that I'm making are called the Laura, and Laura was a barista here when I was in school, and this was her favorite drink. It's a tea au lait with vanilla and whipped cream. A lot of other places will call it a London in the fog. She unfortunately passed away from cancer, and so we have this in honor of her on our menu.
What are some of your other favorite items that you have here in the shop?
Our cinnamon rolls and our pastries, I think, are really good. They're very high quality. We don't make them by scratch, but we do bake them here on location, and I think those are really good. And that's what we really try to go for in our food and our pastries, is something that you really can't get. But as far as the coffee goes, my wife fell in love with the coffee when she just would come here as a customer, and she does not want to deviate from the coffee. From a lot of out-of-towners that I talk to, our coffee rivals big city coffee, and that's just, we love that.
You own a business here, small town community. Why is this a great place for people to maybe get away for a day?
Well, I think we got the small town feel where it's quieter and there's less traffic. Like here, Cabin, I can only speak for Cabin and maybe some of the other establishments here downtown. Here we have couches and free Wi-Fi, and we get a lot of students who do homework here, and we actually get a lot of business transactions that happen here, and I just think of the hometown feel, like where you know everybody's name. It's just homey.
The homey feel extends to local revitalized parks, where the crew and I relived our youth. Before heading back downtown for lunch at what can only be described as a Defiance landmark.
Welcome to Kissner.
I love it. I love the aesthetic in here. This has been around a long time, right?
We have had it in the family since 1928. It became a tavern in 1901. The back bar, that came in 1903. The family acquired it in 1928, so it went from Kissner and Sons to Kissner Brothers to Kissner's. So I've personally been in this establishment since 1971. So this is my 50th year.
Well, congratulations. Cheers to that. 50 years. Yeah, you haven't been here since the beginning, obviously.
No,
What have those 50 years been like here in Defiance?
It has been, I would say, fun watching all the changes, but with all the changes, there's also challenges. So over the years, you've seen Defiance downtown change dramatically from the shopping hub to more of a specialty application where the stores are a little more specialized as your bigger stores move north to the mall or to the strip malls. So Defiance downtown has managed to survive, us along with it, by specializing, becoming a little more of a destination aspect than a hub aspect.
I'm glad that you brought that up, destination aspect, because that's what brought us out, and you know, we heard good word of mouth. We already ate. I had the Carl burger. You kind of were coaching me on that. What's the trick to eating that monstrous burger?
Well, it's a good sized burger, and it's good and big and juicy, and all the slop is on it. So once you pick it up, you kind of got to keep hanging on to it. Once you set it down, it starts to kind of dismantle on you.
Yeah,
so I like to pick it up and just literally hold it in my hand and let everything kind of drip through my fingers. Now, that's not a polite, clean way to eat it.
Doesn't look very good.
But it's kind of like ribs. If you don't get a little on your cheeks, were they really that good?
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense for that, because I did find that out the hard way. I set it down and it started falling apart. Very good though. Very delicious food. You know, one of my coworkers had the Billy Burger. Even the Cherry Pepsi has the cherries on top of it. So little touches to everything.
Like Carl, the kitchen staff, including retired welder and current line cook Jack, have called Kissner's home for years, and their food skills go far beyond flipping burgers.
How do you describe your foods? Like very like home cooking?
Home cooking, American fare.
Yeah.
My kitchen is a small manufacturing plant. There's all kinds of things going on. We're making things from scratch constantly. You know, so we're prepping for the weekend. So we're back there peeling and slicing and boiling and steaming. It just never stops.
Yeah, absolutely. I love these. I'm kind of swiveling here, but I love the bar stools here. And the bar, we mentioned that the back's been here since 1903, but how long has all this, look, I mean, there's like texture on here.
Yeah.
It's been around a while. It's got a lot of character.
This particular bar came in 1981, only because the original caught on fire. We actually had a fire. It literally burned the bar in half. It almost got the back bar. So this we had built to mimic the original. The stools are the original. If you look at the floor, you're going to find burnt marks, char marks over here in the floor from the fire. So we were lucky and able to save it. But it has this bar has that feel of the original with the oak top and the little column look to it.
Yeah, how much do you enjoy doing this? How much do you enjoy being the owner of this restaurant?
It's one of those that if you don't love this business, you will wind up hating it. So I've obviously do it enough years that it's something that it's just, I love it. It's that interaction with people. It's that interaction with preparing a meal for someone and having them enjoy it. It's a double feel good.
Let's check in one more time with our sponsor, AAA, specifically the Auto Center manager, Matt Barnes. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for being here, Tim.
Okay, we are in the Auto Center. This is where you guys check up on cars and obviously do everything that you would in a garage. Mechanics out here doing their thing. Why is it important for people to get their car checked out, you know, for spring and summer trips specifically?
Well, a lot of times after a long, rough winter, people don't know that they need their autos repaired. You know, there can be very subtle changes that happen over the course of the winter, and that's why it's really important to get your vehicle inspected before taking any spring road trips.
What are some of the more common inspections that you guys perform?
The most common inspections we perform are the tires. We want to make sure they have similar tread, the tread depth is proper. Obviously, the inflation is proper on the tires, including the spare tire, because that doesn't only help with mileage, but it also helps with the safety while you're taking your trip. Another thing we look at is if one of those tires is wearing unevenly, that could be a sign of an alignment issue or an alignment problem. Fluid maintenance is very important. You know, honestly, you should have your fluids inspected with every oil change, and then follow the owner's manual when it comes to maintenance of your vehicle, because it breaks down just like oil does in your car.
What about wipers and things like that?
Wipers are very important. A lot of times, the only time that we realize that we need wipers is when it's raining outside. Yeah. And then it's a sunny day and you turn your wipers on, you get streaking. We inspect the wipers for any streaking, any tearing. It's very important to keep that windshield clean and keep proper vision so you can see what's going on, you know, on the road ahead of you.
What should people have in their car in case of an emergency?
You know, you really need a good emergency kit. You know, jumper cables, blankets, a fully charged cell phone, some water, flares or the triangles should you break down. And of course, in your wallet, you should have your AAA membership card.
I was going to say that as well. Always have that AAA membership card with you. Matt, thank you very much. I appreciate you for taking this time. And if you want to become a AAA member, check out the link below and the discount as well, 50% off right now. We have more with One Tank Travel coming up after this quick commercial break. We're on the road in Defiance, Ohio, and wrapping up a day full of activities with celebratory suds at Forked Crick Brewery. Forked Crick Brewery, which when I called to ask about this, I said 4KD Brewery. How many times and how often do you guys get people saying the name?
Oh, every day, probably, yeah. I mean, we have regulars who've been here since day one and still can pronounce it 4KD. It was, I guess you could say, a marketing scheme to begin with. Our owner here, he's very unique and wanted a unique name, so we were playing off a confluence downtown there, the Confluence River that started Defiance because they built a fort and a library there. Yeah. So we were going with Confluence, and he said that wasn't weird enough. So,
so we want to make it weirder.
Yes.
A native of Paulding, Ohio, brewmaster Ozzie Finnegan grew to love craft beer while living in Colorado. When he returned, he struck up a friendship with Aaron Wiebel, executive chef and GM at Eagle Rock Golf Club. Soon after, Forked was up and running in the old pro shop.
So we ripped out walls and cleaned the place up and bought a brewing system and started hitting the wall, I guess you could say. Did a lot of experimentation, a lot of drinks, a lot of bad beers, a lot of good beers.
That's always the fun part, is trying them out. The crazy names with them. How much fun do you have doing that? Is that just you, or is that a group process?
It's a group process. Aaron gets to name some, Krista gets to name some actually, and we're doing a collaboration beer with all the breweries in Ohio, well, most of the breweries in Ohio. It's called From the Heart, and Krista actually named that.
Krista's your bar manager?
Yes, front of house manager, bar manager, party planner, basically everything I can do.
Krista, you got a beer too. What'd you go with?
I went with Porcupine Hug.
Porcupine Hug, which is the IPA. I love it. And is that a very hoppy IPA?
Super happy. It's got 106 IBUs on it.
Nice.
Tight quarters makes for a unique brewing process, but also welcoming vibes, inviting to local patrons, many of whom are part of the Mug Club, as well as travelers to Defiance.
Do you guys get a lot of out-of-towners? I saw a map in the back with like pins all over it. I mean, you find people coming in?
Yeah, and we've got the Tagger Brew Now is all over Ohio, so we get a lot of people coming to collect those.
Explain that a little bit.
So every brewery has a charm. Ours is a fork, and people go around all over the state to collect the charms.
Very cool. You guys are a little bit off that beaten path, but you still get out-of-towners that come in to obviously try out you, but this whole complex here with the restaurants, is it kind of like an attraction then?
It pretty much is, I would say. There's even a sign off the highway. I think that says Sweetwater Chop House right this way. And then Aaron is the head chef here. He's the general manager as well of all the properties. He kind of started this place with Gary Cooper a long time ago. It's just going to be a catering business at first. Then it's turned into 2 golf courses, a full restaurant, 2 full restaurants next door than us. So he's a very busy man.
Among the restaurants is the Fired Stone Tavern, a family fun center with a rush of nostalgia for 80s and 90s babies that boasts a variety of eats, frothy beverages for adults, and, of course, wood-fired pizza.
What's it mean to you to be succeeding here and growing here and just seeing like a revitalization of Defiance in this whole Midwestern area?
It means a lot to me for sure. When I moved out to Denver and fell in love with the whole nature and aspect of the brewing out there and just the people out there, seeing that back here in Defiance is awesome to me.
AAA has always been there for you, and we're here for you now, providing expert tire and auto service that's open to everyone.
AAA members get a free oil change for a limited time at AAA Tire and Auto Service.